and welcome to Fighting Through Writing, your weekly-ish wander through the wild, word-laden world of competitive fiction writing. My name is Paul. I'm a real-life copywriter, a pretend professional wrestler, and this year I'm on a mission to see if I can write the story that'll help me finally become the undisputed champion of the Extreme Wrestling Corporation. Tonight, we see if we can take our next step along that journey when our protagonist faces the undisputed champion of the Extreme Wrestling Corporation in a non-title match. Still, as is often the way with professional wrestling, there's every chance that a win here could stand us in good stead for an opportunity at that championship a little further down the road. So plenty to play for. If this is your first time here, a little speed run into how this all works. Imagine a real-life wrestling show, WWE, AEW, what have you. You have your roster of wrestlers, all of whom are run by a writer who will every week carve out a little chapter of their particular story with the intent of promoting whatever kind of conflict or contest that they are scheduled to be involved in. Essentially trying to, in a very real way, convince the judges that you are the best writer, that your story is the most compelling and therefore the most deserving of picking up the win. Now, if you watched my last video, you would have seen me write our story for this week, essentially framing this match as Pablo earning himself the opportunity to finally become Undisputed Champion, with Pablo essentially viewing the Undisputed Championship as his ticket to finally be allowed to embrace his family legacy, a legacy that he has always been shut out of and denied a role in by his vengeful uncle Viano. His reasoning being that if he wins the Undisputed Championship, i.e. the most prestigious championship in professional wrestling, then his uncle will, begrudgingly or not, want to have that association and have his name tied, however tenuously, to that sense of prestige. And so tonight we are going to see whether that is the case, whether Pablo gets to move another step closer to realizing that dream. Now, what I did on the last show is basically just read the results aloud and kind of react to them as I was reading. But what I thought I would do for this episode is see if I can use text-to-speech to basically read it all for me. Like, I'm a notorious skim reader where my brain will just naturally try and skip ahead as I'm going through. So I struggle quite a lot of the time to take the information in. And in a situation like this, that usually means that I skip to the result before I've even got there and kind of spoil it for myself. So I thought this might be quite a fun way to get around that, and then it is legitimate kind of in the moment live reactions as they happen. Now, obviously I am recording this in the moment for me, but for you it's the past, so I don't know whether this will have worked or not, but what I am going to do is I'm going to put some headphones on, just because I don't know how having it coming out of the speakers will be picked up on the microphone, and I don't want to risk any kind of weird sound echoes or whatever when I'm editing later on. So from past to future me and present day you, let's see how we get on. Okay, here we go, baby. Okay, so fun fact, the text-to-speech program that I used only lets you record like 4 minutes of audio at a time, which is A, very specific, B, very annoying, and C, exactly not quite as long as the match. So instead, what you're about to experience is me performing double duty as both the reciter of the match and the reactor to said recital. Two champs collide. Singles. Here we go. Two champs collide. Champ, non-title. El Pablo versus champ versus champ, non-title. We return to ringside where the Tornado Tag Team match recently ended. The EWC crew members are looking over the ring as we cut over to commentary. Aiello, Bennett, Stroop, El Pablo. A cry of Viva la Revolution
not
leads to Party Hard
reading
by Andrew
the
WK hitting the sound system,
commentary, which is a little bit annoying, but
flashing, flickering, brightly
that's fine.
lighting.
We're getting the action.
As the main hook
So I'm just
hits,
going to try.
El Pablo bursts through the curtain,
I'm going to try not
playing
to
the
even
fans and
look
showing
at the
skippers
screen
like a
just to
speedwiser as his brother
immerse
Vertigo
myself.
follows slowly
So
behind, stoic and
enjoy
silent.
my
Pablo charges down the
enjoy
ramp
my
and slides
meditation
under the ropes
face,
into the
I
ring
suppose.
before running up the turnbuckle and tossing a couple of fistfuls of Skittles out into the adoring crowd as Vertigo belatedly takes up his position on the outside. After offering up a final salute, Pablo throws up the Shinny Joshi double deuces, then hops back down to the canvas, bumping fists with Vertigo and performing a few final stretches as his music fades. Stroop. Cosmo Goldworthy. Lights strobe gold and white, then fade back to black. They then fade pink and white, and flashing lights by Kanye West hits the PA speakers. Cosmo Goldworthy emerges from the back to a raucous reaction from the crowd, and regardless of if they're cheering or booing, everyone is making noise for Cosmo. He adjusts his jacket, flashing out his abs as he marches down the ring, extending his arm outs to embrace the energy. Following behind Cosmo is his sly manager, Dimitri Graves. Cosmo hops up the apron, ascending to the very top rope and extending his arms out as Pyro shoots out on the stage behind him. Cosmo takes the ropes and drops down into the ring, removing his jacket and handing it to Dimitri outside of the ring as he backs into the turnbuckles. Ding, ding, ding. Pablo runs at Cosmo and leaps for a Hurricane Rana. Cosmo blocks and brings Pablo down across his knee with a shoulder breaker. Cosmo lifts Pablo to his feet and smacks him with forearms to the jaw before spinning on the balls of his feet and cracking Pablo with a back elbow to the side of the head. Pablo staggers around, walking into the grip of Cosmo, who drives him down to the mat with a uranagi. He hooks the leg as he makes a cover. 1, 2, 3, no, kick out. Pablo lifts his shoulder off of the mat, breaking the count. Cosmo gets to his feet and he grabs Pablo's arms. He places a foot on Pablo's chest and stomps down hard. Pablo coughs as he struggles for breath. Cosmo lifts Pablo up and tries to swing him into a neck breaker. Pablo manages to counter and slip behind Cosmo before pushing him to the ropes for an O'Connor roll. Cosmo grabs the ropes, sending Pablo rolling back. Cosmo turns and runs for a clothesline, but Pablo catches him and spins him with a Spanish fly. Both lay on the mat. Both slowly get to their feet, where Pablo whips Cosmo to the corner. Pablo follows him into the corner, hitting Cosmo with a Meteora that Pablo rolls into a monkey flip. Pablo jumps into a standing shooting star, hooking the leg as he crashes down on Cosmo. 1, 2, 3, no, kick out.
THR.
Cosmo just manages to push his way free to break the count. Aiello. Bennett. Pablo rolls to the apron as Cosmo uses
I'm
the
sure
ropes
that
to
was
pull himself to
insightful
his
commentary
feet.
from Aiello
Pablo
and
springs
Bennett.
into the ring, hitting a furry ninja strike to the back of the head. Cosmo drops to the mat. Pablo rolls him over and makes a cover. 1, 2, 3, no, kick out. A toe on the bottom rope is all that breaks the count. Pablo pulls Cosmo to his feet and whips him to the corner. He climbs another corner and runs across the ropes for a 5-star express. Cosmo dives to the side to avoid it and Pablo crashes to the mat. Pablo staggers to his feet as Cosmo runs at him, hitting a cold winter that turns Pablo inside out. Cosmo pulls him up and takes him over with a dance macabre that he bridges into a pin. 1, 2, 3, no, kick out. A toe on the middle rope is all that breaks the count.
I thought that could have been it.
Both lay on the mat before slowly getting to their feet. Cosmo lifts Pablo to his feet. Cosmo pulls Pablo for a Gold Rush Omega. Pablo manages to duck under and run off the ropes. Pablo leaps, spinning into a jumping back elbow that knocks Cosmo down. Pablo climbs to the top turnbuckle and leaps at Cosmo, driving him to the mat with Taste the Rainbow. Pablo grabs Cosmo's legs as he makes a cover. The referee counts. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding.
No!
El Pablo.
We did it!
Pablo stands in the middle of the ring, throwing Skittles in the air
Come
like confetti
on!
before rolling from the ring. He pours Skittles into the hands of some of the fans he passes as he heads up the ramp.
I feel like I'm an actual streamer right now.
Camera cuts too.
Oh my
backstage
god!
with Sam standing in front of one of the many crew
Oh
members.
my
The staff has a
god!
very confused look, looking as if
Right,
they
okay,
were solving
Google,
a
you need to
geometrical
chill right
equation.
now. So, okay. Let's just... Man, that was... Oh, it sounds so stupid, but just like... I don't know, I could feel my chest pounding, just that entire thing. Man. We did it, gang. We did it. We beat the Undisputed Champion. Right, I need to go through this again. But this is where I thought it was done. So Pablo goes for the 5-star express, which is basically where you've got the opponent standing in one corner, and then Pablo goes to the other corner, runs across the top rope and drop kicks them in the chest. ridiculous. But yeah, Cosmo moves, Pablo crashes and burns, hits him with a Coldest Winter and a Dance Macabre, so 2 of his big signature moves. And yeah, I thought that was game over, but no, Pablo kicks out, foot on a toe on the middle rope, and then Cosmo pulls Pablo up, goes for the Gold Rush Omega, which is his finishing move. Pablo ducks, jumping back elbow, and then hits a Taste the Rainbow. And that's it. 1, 2, 3. Your winner via pinfall, El Pablo. Man. I'm gassed. I'm shook. I'm all those words. But yeah, there you go. Season well and truly up and running now. Pablo 1-0 in singles competition and a win over the Undisputed Champion. In terms of what is next, not actually sure at this point. In all the madness of the last couple of weeks, I completely forgot to sign up for the next episode of Brawl. So we do not currently have a booking on that show. What I did do is I signed up for the following episode of Friday Night Rampage, which is 4 days later. It's basically another one of the rival brands. It's the SmackDown to Brawl's Raw, if you like. So that'll be good. A nice little change of scenery. It also just so happens to be the brand to which Cosmo, the Undisputed Champion, belongs. So we can see if there's any shenanigans, any kind of carry on we can get up to with that. But I don't imagine that I will find out what the match is for that, if any, until Friday. So a few days from now, when the current episode of Rampage is posted. So yeah, not sure what that means for the rest of this vlog, but I will leave that in the very capable hands of future me, and I shall leave this little section here. El Pablo beat the Undisputed Champion. Okay, it is the weekend. This would normally be the point in the vlog where we start going through what I'm writing for this week and kind of the progress or what we're thinking of doing. But as mentioned in the previous section, I don't actually know what that is yet. Like I said before, this show cycle we are taking a trip over to Friday Night Rampage, and so the card for that particular show hasn't come out yet, so we're still waiting to see who we're fighting, so that will be in the next video. What I thought we could do in the meantime then is go through the feedback that we received on our promo and our fiction story for the show just gone. Now, feedback is something that I will readily admit that I don't ask for anywhere near as much as I should do. I think that's partly down to time zones. So there's a rule with scorecards that you need to wait 48 hours until after the show is posted to request your scorecards. I think that's mostly just to kind of stop people asking for them in anger when they, if they've had a result that they didn't particularly like. Just to, it kind of gives you a bit of a cooling off period to like chill out, basically. So with a lot of the staff being based in America, I kind of forget and confuse myself with how long that 48 hours is. So I never really ask for it. I also feel like, I don't know, feedback in general in life is something that I always kind of struggle with. And I feel like if it's a match that I've won, then I'm like, cool, it was great. I don't need to know. I don't need to hear what people thought. And if I lost, it's like, well, yeah, of course I lost because my promo was rubbish, which is definitely not a healthy and constructive attitude to have. And it's certainly it's not an attitude that's going to help you kind of grow and improve your craft. So in the spirit of this channel and in just kind of, I guess, a general quest for self-improvement, I thought I would make a more concerted effort to ask for feedback a bit more regularly, and then we can kind of dissect it and go through it on here, really. So as I think I've mentioned before, the EWC runs on a scorecard system.
I've been in a lot of feds like this before where a lot of the wins and losses basically come down to vibes and which promo the person judging liked best, but there's never really been an official kind of criteria for that. So I think that's one of the really cool things about the EWC is you can see in real empirical terms where your promo was really strong and where it maybe wasn't quite as strong as it could have been. So I don't want to give the entire scorecard away because I know how hard the staff have worked to put this together, and although it is accessible on the site for everyone, I don't feel like it's on me to put out into the ether. You know, if you want to see the whole thing in full, then come and read it for yourself. I'm not going to tell you. But essentially it's broken down into a few different sections. So you've got relevancy, argument, character, flow, and creativity. Relevancy is essentially who are you fighting, where are you fighting, what show are you fighting on, and what kind of match is it. Nice and easy. Everyone should be getting that just as a matter of knowing how to write. Then you've got argument, which is basically how is your character going to win, what's their strategy, who's their opponent, what strengths and weaknesses does their opponent have, how does that mesh with your own character's strengths and weaknesses. You've then got character, which is a bit more abstract, I suppose. It's kind of showcasing to the audience where this match takes place in the context of your character's journey and in the context of what's going on in their life outside the ring. And that can be something that you put very on the nose, like, if I win this match, I can blah, blah, blah. Or it can just be something a bit more, as I say, a bit more abstract, but it's just kind of, it's fleshing the world of your character out a little bit more rather than it just being all about the match. You then got flow, which is basically, does it all make sense? Is it obvious what's going on in each scene? Do you paint a good picture of where we are? Do we know what the location is? Do we know who's talking? Are all the transitions smooth? And does the promo feel like it's an appropriate length, or are you just kind of throwing words at a page just to try and pad it out? The EWC has always been very big on quality over quantity. So, you know, a coherent and effective, well thought out 1,000-word promo can easily beat a promo that's like 3,000 words of just waffle. And then the final bit is creativity, which is, have you picked a creative location for the piece, or are you just doing it in a gym or in the building where it's taking place? And it's also the more intangible kind of things, like, did your promo elicit a reaction from people? Did it make them feel something, you know? And then just generally, was it entertaining, or was it just did it feel like they were just reading a bullet point list of kind of arguments and stats and things like that? And each section has its own different kind of weighting and points values as to how much it's been deemed to contribute to an effective story as a whole. And again, I won't go into detail as to what those weightings are, but let's take a look-see and see how El Pablo's promo against the Undisputed Champion Cosmo Goldworthy went down with the scorers. So, first scorecard, relevancy feedback, no further notes here, great job on relevancy and balance. Again, I feel like if you can't fit in somewhere who you're fighting, where you're fighting, and what the show is, what are you doing? Argument feedback, no further notes here. Really enjoyed your handling of the arguments, which is very good. I am very happy about that. Obviously, character feedback, no further notes here. Really enjoyed the character development on display throughout, which is, again, very glad to hear that. I feel like it was a very important character piece for Pablo. Flow feedback, the flow here was really good, but to be honest, I felt the piece went a little long and started to drag in spots. This didn't impact the effectiveness of the arguments and character development, but I think trimming things a little bit would have helped improve this aspect all the same. So that's fair. I think, like I said, when I posted it, I think it ended up being just under 3,000 words, which is a lot to sit and read through, especially if you're having to
kind of read multiple pieces and score multiple pieces. I think possibly as well the first scene, while I really liked it, I think, yeah, possibly some of the interactions maybe dragged more. Maybe I could have trimmed those up a little bit or cut some of those bits out. And then creativity, really like this piece a lot, though the above issue of going on a little long did impact my enjoyment slightly. Overall feedback, this was a strong piece overall, though culling back ever so slightly would have really pushed things further on its impact. So total score, 26.5 out of 28. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I think the arguments were really good. Character stuff was really good. And I think it's just kind of those intangibles, I suppose. Or, well, yeah, it just drug on a little, just waffled a little bit too long, I suppose, which is fair. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you very much. Next scorecard. So relevancy feedback, none, no deduction made. Argument feedback, none, no deduction made. Character feedback, none, no deduction made. Flow feedback, could have used a smoother transition from scene to scene, which, I don't know, I feel like my transition was pretty good. I feel like I ended the first scene. Or did I? Now I'm thinking about it. I think I liked the ending of the first scene when I had it down, but it was kind of I didn't really have an ending in mind. I'd thought of these little skits and these little set pieces, and then I knew how I wanted it to end, but I wasn't sure on the specifics of how it would end, if that makes sense. It was kind of just something that came to me in the moment, and I thought, that's great, that'll do, and I stuck it down. So yeah, I kind of get that. I maybe didn't communicate the idea as effectively as I wanted to. And then creativity feedback, I absolutely love the character and story, but this one felt a little flat to me. There was nothing that really stood out. Overall feedback, great RP as usual, but there was just something missing. The opening scene, I was waiting, and I felt like I just kept waiting. So total score, 25.5, which is interesting to me, but I suppose that's the disconnect, I suppose, where, because I'm obviously a lot closer to the Pablo character, a scene like the opening scene that held a lot of weight to me and felt very significant to me writing it. But yeah, you're never necessarily gonna have that same connection in someone else's mind. You want that, and it's up to you as the writer to put that across. So yeah, evidently I didn't communicate it strongly enough to this particular person as I did to myself, which is fine. You know, we got the arguments, we got the character stuff. It's just the little, as I say, the little je ne sais quoi, which didn't quite hit. And then number 3, relevancy feedback. You did well here, had a good balance. Argument feedback. I feel you did well here and had a solid argument. Character feedback. Good character development with some backstory. Love it. Thank you very much. Flow feedback. This RP flowed well and was easy to follow. Creativity feedback. Here is the hard part for me. As much as I enjoyed this RP, it didn't have that snap, crackle and pop I'm looking for and could give you the full entertainment points or the reaction point. Overall feedback, I really went back and forth on this one. In the end, I settled on that this felt like an important piece to the puzzle that is El Pablo and needed to be told, but it wasn't the most exciting part of the story. I enjoyed it, but it didn't blow me away. That simple fact kept me from a perfect score, along with the scene not really tying into the argument in my eyes or that I noticed in my read. So total score 25. So again, same kind of thing. So we got all the argument points, we got the backstory, all the kind of the major boxes we managed to tick, which is good. But again, the intangibles, I suppose, which again, I suppose is just one of those where it felt significant to me putting that in. But I can understand why another reader didn't necessarily feel that same impact. And again, that's kind of your responsibility as a writer to communicate that effectively. So I guess I just need to make sure we're doing that a bit better going forward. I do think in terms of the second scene, kind of like I was alluding to during the writing of it, monologuing, it's not really a strong suit of mine. Like a lot of the inspiration that I take for the Pablo character is from double acts and dialogue and a lot more of that kind of interchange, which I didn't have in this one. I feel like I told the story that I wanted to tell in the way that it needed to be told, if that makes sense. But yeah, I can completely see what people are saying when they say it wasn't necessarily the most exciting kind of read, or at least wasn't the most consistently exciting read, I suppose. There was no, if you compare it to the promo I did previously for the Silent Disco Technicos against the Heat Packers, that one had a lot more kind of interplay. There was a bit more, it was a bit more light-hearted, and there was a few more set pieces and things like that. And yeah, possibly I felt a bit more true to the Pablo character. So I think that's the challenge that I've always kind of had with El Pablo, is it's kind of marrying the lightheartedness of the character that I really enjoy writing with the gravitas of his past and his situation and his wanting to be the Undisputed Champion. So yeah, I think going forward, that's the challenge that we need to meet, is it's bringing those two things together in a way that somehow doesn't diminish either one of them. But yeah, on the whole, we can't be too disappointed with that. Well, we can't be too disappointed with that because we won the match, for one thing. But also, yeah, very good scores on the whole. So thank you to the scorers, whoever they are. But yeah, I am going to leave it at that for this week, I think. Next week, once the new Rampage card comes out, we will properly start digging into getting that story written, whatever it may be, whoever against it may be. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought. Leave a comment down below. Please do like, share, subscribe, all that good sort of stuff. We are 1 month in, which is crazy already. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun as well. So yeah, stay tuned for the next episode, and I will see you next time as the saga continues on Fighting Through Writing.